You're a flop, Harry. Or at least that's what we might be saying. I don't think that this change would be a bad one. So Voldemort had a few design changes and concepts when he was being you know brought to the big screen, and there was one that they had kind of molded and kind of brought on from paper uh to somewhat real life, and it looks amazing. And hopefully, this the series, the Harry Potter series for Max, uh I I really hope, because that would be really, really cool. Um, I hope they choose to go with this model, this kind of version, or something similar, like very close to it. So HBO's Harry Potter TV series has a chance to impress fans by adapting Voldemort's original fan favorite movie appearance. Among the many, many villains who have been depicted on the silver screen, the Harry Potter franchise, Lord Voldemort remains easily one of the scariest. I mean, does he? I mean, I mean, when you have characters and you have a character like Dolores Umbridge, who people hate and you know just despise a lot more than this dude, I don't think he's nearly as scary. It's like she's not a Dark Lord or anything. She comes off as like, oh, I'm just upholding law and this and that. She'll like torture students. I think she's far scarier than anything this guy can do, except for the whole like possibly creating Horcruxes thing, you know. But yeah, no one likes her. She is the most despised character in Harry Potter. This dude is more popular and more loved than she is. So I don't know. He just has a lot of charm, and I think that's Ray Fiennes' kind of just ability to do that, taking someone like Voldemort and bringing such charisma and charm to it, where it's like I really want to hate the guy. I know he's evil, but I love him because he's such a good character. Um, and I should be scared of him, but I'm not, because of just the charm that this character has, even without the you know certain facial features. I mean, that whole when when he shows up at the school, and he's like, Harry Potter is dead, and then he does that stupid laugh. That's it's not scary. You're like, what a goofball. Or when he does that weird little hug with Draco, and he's like, here, Draco. It's like you can clearly tell the dude has never given a hug or been hugged before, and it's just more unsettling than it makes it more unsettling than scary. Um, in the J.K. Rowling books, original books, Voldemort's appearance is heavily altered and left looking less human as a result of his experiments with dark. Yeah, 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 yeah. Basically, every time he creates another Horcrux, he becomes less human and more what he would be if like a snake. He looks more snake-like. Um, Here he's just a human without a nose. I mean, they give him some kind of snake features, kind of. I mean, his skin is a little more, dry, or I guess scaly looking compared to a human's. He does have the little, like a, snake would. His tongue, I think, is a little thinner and forked and whatever, like a snake's would, but other than that, he's still human. So when he first emerges in Goblet of Fire, there's a moment where because his face is like incredibly thin. It's very bony and stuff like that, and that's more similar to what it should look like. Um, and then his face kind of forms. Of course, that's actually just also because Ray Fiennes back then was just a lot thinner than he was as he got older. I mean, you get older, you put on a little weight. He was still thin, but you could tell he definitely wasn't as thin as he was when he first did Goblet of Fire. Um, but yeah, the more the more Horcruxes he made, the more he became less human and more snake-like, or more animalistic. Again, for him, it's a snake. Um, into Horcruxes from a young age. As read in Goblet of Fire, the villain is described as a very thin man with a skeletal appearance, who breathes through two very small nostril slits, and whose thin skin sticks to protruding bones. Although the less detail, as well as skull-like face, red-shot eyes, and cat-like pupils, were left out of the silver screen depiction. Yeah, like Harry's eye color is supposed to be different, but they changed it for the movie for whatever reason. So, however, the film's eventual portrayal of Voldemort was far less terrifying and controversial. Rowling and the film's production team actually wanted the villain to look far more accurate to his depiction in the book. As shared on Twitter by fan account Harry Potter Universe, during pre-production, a mold of Voldemort's far more reptilian uh, was actually created for the film, and is intended for use when the villain was sharing a head with Quirrell. So basically, back in the first movie, and you have Quirrell, he's got the you know, and then there's the moment at the end of the movie where he's talking to Harry, and Voldemort's like, "Let me talk to him," and he undoes it, and you see it in the Mirror of Erised, Voldemort, and but he looks human. It was gonna look different. This is actually what it was supposed to look like. So here's what it originally was gonna look like, and here's the final part. Not nearly as terrifying. And to see something that was more reptilian, snake-like, coming off the back of the head, coming off the back of a human, it would kind of show just how far gone Voldemort was, in terms of his soul and who he was. This guy is just being used as a host, while he's doing bad things, and he hasn't split his soul yet as many times, split his soul yet, unlike this guy. So, but he was supposed to, you know, take the thing off, and this is what we were supposed to originally see, something similar to his book design, and I think that looks amazing. Like I said, this just comes off as goofy looking. It's just goofy. The way his face moved, like his face was kind of like squished. This has actually got depth and geometry to it. It looks cool. Now just imagine the coloration of when they're standing there with Quirrell and he's got his normal peachy uh skin tone, and then you see this like green or gray or just scaly, just reptilian like face, with the fires and everything blazing and just the light going in shadows around it. I mean, that would have been terrifying. That would have been terrifying. um so I Yeah, surprisingly, many fans responded to this post by expressing how much they would have would have preferred to see this version over the mask-like design that was eventually adopted. With one fan even observing, "If all that was left of Voldy at this point in the story was his essence, after having so many of his soul purposely splintered off, it makes some sense that he'd look less than human, more monstrous." Yeah, and for him, he would look more snake-like. And I love the detail right there, how Quirrell's ear is no longer really just his ear, how it's kind of morphing into Voldemort's face. That's just... I'm guessing these would be his hands or something. Um, I mean, it's possible that at this point, because you can see his morph, that Quirrell would also be kind of taking on the form of Voldemort, not because he had split his soul, but because Voldemort, being the obviously more powerful one, would slowly corrupt him. And as you can see right here, he still has his ear, even with his head forming on the back of him. Um, you see the long nails, but yeah, that'd be so cool. At current, it's unknown exactly why WB chose to err away from Voldemort's original design, though some have speculated that it was done in order to avoid scaring the franchise's intended demographic of younger kids. But kids like to be scared sometimes. You know, this will be shocking at first, yeah, but they'll eventually look and be like, wow, he looks like a dinosaur or something stupid. It's not going to scare them. I mean, I think people need to give kids a little more credit. They're not little scared babies most of the time. So, I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I loved to be scared. You know, I would purposely watch horror movies just to be scared. I remember my mom telling me, no, I don't want you watching Nightmare on Elm Street, not at your age. And then I watched it anyway, and I was like, I don't see the big deal. What was she telling me not to watch this for? You know? I remember, what was it, Easter or something? I remember watching like Phantasm when I was like a small kid. And then after Phantasm, freaking Pac-Man Christmas came on. So yeah, it was around Christmas. Yeah, it was Phantasm and then Pac-Man Christmas. So it's like I'm not sitting there, oh good. So these people need to really give kids some more, kids some more credit. I don't think that's going to scare them the way they think it is. However, in light of the twins' facts that this appearance was fully considered to be original film series product in well into the original film series production, and that when announcing the upcoming HBO project in April 2023, HBO CEO Casey Bloys promised that the upcoming TV show would be a more faithful adaptation of the books. There exists a good chance that this philosophy will extend to the small screen appearance of the characters and result in a genuinely horrifying take on He Who Should Not Be Named. He Who Shall Not Be Named. While there's still yet to be any confirmation from HBO regarding the design's adoption, the idea of its return, could make for an interesting to transform the villain in the show and separate it from its cinematic predecessors. I mean, cinematic predecessor. I mean, there's been one Voldemort and it's Ralph Fiennes, so. Well, technically not the first one. That wasn't Ralph Fiennes. So, I mean, I guess they have a point. Uh, you got me there. Uh, However, hilariously enough, if he were to adopt these new features, he would have to do more yapping than straight and clear talking. Voldemort's storyline portrays an inherently evil character, so the scarier he is on the screens, the stronger the message he sends. Notably, that all 7 Harry Potter books will be covered in the show, and this providing a deeper look. Yeah, so we'll be able to see a lot more, more of his backstory with his dad, who absolutely hated him. He hated his mom. His mom had to, like, the only reason his dad was with her in the first place was because she kept slipping him a freaking love potion. It, so it would definitely be nice to see uh more of his backstory, the Gaunts and ties to Slytherin and all that great stuff. Uh, at current, it's still unclear who exactly will play the Dark Lord. I mean, Ray Fiennes, he left some pretty big shoes to fill, although Voldemort didn't wear shoes. He was shoeless the whole time, so pretty big feet to fill. Although, no, Ray Fiennes is a big guy, I think. He's like 6'2" or something, so he's a big guy. A big role to fill. But hopefully, I mean, that's a pivotal character. He's like, the overarching bad guy. The reason for everything in the series. So you need the perfect perfect person to play that character. And if you get it wrong, I don't think fans will trust you ever again. Um, yeah, actors and blah, blah blah. However, at least it's known that his actor Ray Fiennes is not currently looking to reprise the role, which would be a shame. Which is a shame. Because if he was able to, I'm sure it would be great to see him, but I figure it's just like he's getting old. He's like, I'm getting older. I don't want to keep doing it. You know, it's not exactly physically tasking, but I want to pass the mantle on, let someone else have a chance to, play such an iconic character. Regardless, the overwhelming support of Voldemort's reptile design speaks volumes as to what direction fans are hoping the series will take when adopting the story of the boy wizard. As commented by another Twitter user, they should have went with the original design of Voldemort. The design being terrifying and potentially traumatizing to kids would have been even more of a reason not to speak of him. Yeah, I mean, it's not traumatizing, but seeing him as he is in the movie, it's like they're afraid of this guy. You want him to also look terrifying. This guy who's so connected to snakes, this guy who split his soul 7 times, who is really no longer human. You want him to not look human. But I also get the whole symbology of sometimes the scariest, people are humans. That sometimes humans are capable of doing more horrific things, and you know, it's like we've seen media like demons and monsters and eldritch terrors, and sometimes humans are more capable of doing more horrific things than those creatures are. So I mean, I kind of understand why they kept him human. It's like because there's nothing more terrifying than it's like thinking of another human doing this. But I also like the symbology of every time he creates a Horcrux, he has to split a piece of his soul from him and put it in this whatever item he wants. So he's breaking his soul apart. So he's becoming less human, and so he's going to morph and change into, for his case, a snake. So I mean, I really like the ideas of both. Um, one being him morphing into something that isn't human anymore since he's not human anymore. But then the other of, yeah, sometimes the scariest things you can meet are other humans, and they're capable of doing more horrific things than, the scariest demons you can see. And so, um, some of the original was hard kiddified. I mean, it was only kiddified for like two. I mean, because one after Chamber of Secrets, it got dark. It got dark, and it let you know that it was getting dark. But yeah, if they go with this design, and they get the perfect actor to portray him, I think he's going to be probably one of the most memorable on-screen villains that we've had in a while. Because again, he is a very charismatic character in general. Ray Fiennes brought a lot to the character with his natural charm and acting abilities and charisma. And so again, it's a huge role to fill now because people think Ray Fiennes when it comes to Voldemort. Um, Kind of like how Harry is, or Daniel Radcliffe is Harry Potter. So taking a role as iconic as Harry Potter and trying to find another person to play him, it's like, that person's now gotta not only do something new, but also kind of live up to the reputation and standards of what people think of when they think of Harry Potter as a character because of Daniel Radcliffe. So I mean, it's not going to be easy, and just the slightest casting uh mistake could possibly ruin things. It could be a great story, but if the characters themselves aren't believable and they're just the actors aren't a good fit, it's not going to work. So they need to take the time to find the perfect characters. Him, Dumbledore, Snape, especially with the final book. Obviously, with certain parts with Snape, the more intense parts. You know, you want, I mean, Alan Rickman, same thing. Huge, huge shoes to fill there. That dude. So, having to find someone for Snape, that bad casting, and it's over. Bad casting, and it's over. It doesn't matter. I'm so. I hope they find some great people to play these characters. But anyway, let's hear who you want to see as some of these characters. It could be Harry, it could be Voldemort, it could be Snape, it could be, you know, maybe a more less known character that was in the books but wasn't in this the movies. So anyway, that's gonna do for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye guys.